Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AI Legends, and yeah, guys, today I am back with another series which is going to be What if Naruto had the DNA of all the aliens? Well, guys, you guys have already figured out which aliens I'm actually talking about. It is obviously going to be the aliens of Benjamin Covert Tennyson. If you guys have not seen the series, then you guys should try it, but I highly doubt it. If you guys have not heard about or not have seen Ben Tennyson Aliens, well, it is going to be a really OP series, so I really hope that you guys will like it. But before starting this video, I would like to do, you can say, a disclaimer, as many people were actually pointing out to me like this, so I would like to tell you guys that as well, because I am not here to promote any religion or any concept of, you can say, different deities or things like that, as people were actually telling me that, as in the series Naruto is like a sun god and Sasuke is like moon god, Hagoromo is like god or something like that, or Shinigami, Kami and Yami concept. I'm not here to promote such things. I'm only taking the general idea of the series, and if it makes you guys feel any better as well as me myself, I'm taking away all the titles of god and all from this series, because often it feels like it is more like a disrespect to the god itself, as because just because Hagoromo had the power to, you can say, make a small meteor, or you can call it in this series moon, as he is not comparable, or he is god, as because even in this series there were like galaxies and planets and so much more, and so it, in all comparison, even the earth itself is nothing compared to all the, you can say, creation. So it often like disrespect to the god, so I'm going to take away, you can say, all the titles of the god, the name, as well as, you can say, the title of a stupidly given in the series. So because I'm not here to promote any religion or things like that, so I'll be taking away such things. I am only taking the general idea of the series. So yeah, guys, that is all. I just wanted to say it. So without any further ado, let us start our video. But before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video to come on, guys, please subscribe to my channel. It will really help me a lot. And if I say something of your, you can say, in regard to your religion, if you do not like it, then I apologize. I just wanted to say it because many people were pointing out to me things like this in my Instagram, so I just wanted to make that clear, because it is always like for only for the fun, because such things do not even exist from the beginning. So even in this fun thing, I'm not going to disrespect anything, and especially not the god itself. So I'll be taking away such things because I do not want to disrespect him. So that is all. So without any further ado, let us start our video. So I'm going to start my video with Naruto, as Naruto still is going to be the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. As let us start in our usual manner, as Minato has just sealed away the Nine Tails inside of Naruto, as he has finally died down, as Haruzen arrived and take away Naruto. Now let us start our video from the council meeting, as Naruto was in the arms of Hiruzen, as one of the civilian members stood up. Lord Hokage, we have to kill the demon. We cannot allow him to get stronger. He is weak and we should kill him right now. As the other one stood up, yeah, Lord Hokage, we have to do it. As a pink banshee stood up, Lord Hokage, we have to kill the demon. We cannot allow him to walk in the cities. As Hiruzen let out a final, you can say, yawn, and then finally bloodlust filled the room as he stood up. This kid is the savior of our people. If it was not because of Naruto, we would have died by the hands of the nine-tailed beast, so I'm not going to let him die. As Danzo speak up, well, Haruzen, maybe you should give him to me. I can make him a perfect shinobi, a perfect weapon for the wit. But before he could complete his sentence, Bloodlust got almost double to the room as Danzo gritted his teeth. As Hiruzen looked towards Danzo, giving him a warning if he were to say anything. But Danzo did not take disrespect so easily, as he had a plan how to make this child suffer and one day take control of the weapon, take control of the Nine Tails itself, and he had a huge smirk on his face inwardly. And now let us pass the time. As now, let us have a timescape, as Naruto was 5 years old running from the mob of villagers. In this time, Danzo has leaked the information about how Naruto is the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, and his suffering has finally started to begin. In this time, Council was not so happy about Hiruzen's action, so they started to press him even more and more, taking away the power of Hokage even further. Though Hiruzen tried his best, but still you guys already know about the Hiruzen and all. So, Naruto was right now running from the villagers and the mob who were calling him a demon as finally a kunai was thrown by one of the shinobi stuck in the leg of Naruto as Naruto let out a scream of pain. Finally, the villagers caught him and started to beat the living shit out of Naruto as in the end of the day, Naruto was left once again. It was once again the day as he was left in the hospital room as he opened his eyes to see his Hokage, Gigi, as he had a sad expression on his face as he said, Gigi, where am I? As he looked around to see and finally realized he was in the hospital room once again, as it was the third time in a single week. As Hiruzen sighed and said, well Naruto, how are you feeling? As Naruto looked down and said, Gigi, why is that all? Why do these people hate me? I never did anything to them. As he almost was on the verge of tears as Hiruzen sighed, knowing that things are getting worse and worse for the young Jinchuriki, and it is thanks to his old friend or rival Danzo as Hiruzen gritted his teeth as he said, well Naruto, you don't have to worry about it. One day they will realize their mistakes and trust me, they will apologize to you. As Naruto simply looked down as Hiruzen smiled and said, well Naruto, so have you decided what you want to do? It's about time. You know that in the near future you have to decide it. As Naruto sighed, what can I do, Gigi? As he looked towards Hiruzen and said, well, you're the Hokage and they always respect you. Maybe I can also become Hokage, right? As Hiruzen laughed and said, well Naruto, if you train hard enough, who knows, one day you can actually become Hokage. But for that, you have to become a shinobi first. As Naruto said, yeah, it is always that cool things you like to tell me about the stories you tell me, right? As Hiruzen laughed, yeah, I'm also a shinobi, Naruto. And those were the stories of my youth time. Though they are pretty boring, right? As Naruto simply he said, no, they are pretty interesting, Gigi. You have to tell me that how you speak fire out of your mouth and can do amazing things. As Hiruzen laughed it out, well Naruto, so you want to become a shinobi, huh? As Hiruzen was inwardly pretty happy that Naruto has forgot about his previous dilemma of beating and those type of things. So he simply smiled and said, well Naruto-kun, so you want to become a shinobi, right? But for that you have to train pretty hard. As Naruto said, alright, I will train hard as possible. As Hiruzen laughed, well Naruto, take care. As after saying that he finally went off, but deep down Naruto was feeling pretty sad even though he forgot about his beating and treatment for a mere moment about the dreams of the future, but still he was pretty badly injured. And now let us have another time skip. In this time Naruto started to train as hard as possible. You know, for a 5 years old it is not that hard running and doing push-ups as well as sit-ups and those type of things. As Naruto was training, as villagers started to gather once again as they were seeing how the demon was training to kill them all, as rumors started to spread all around the village how the demon is trying to regain his power so that he can kill all of them. And once again Naruto was running from his life this time, as there were even shinobis like Ganins and all who were kids at the time when the Ninetale attack happened, and they have a huge grudge on Naruto for so-called killing their parents. As Naruto was running for his life now, as once again he was caught and in the end got beaten up pretty badly, this time to the inch of his life as he was barely breathing while inside of the cage as Ninetale grumbled. This kid does not even know how to rest, always getting beaten up and using his power to heal himself. Once again Naruto's chakra leaked out of the system and started to emerge in Naruto's body as Naruto was in the, you can say, alley, beaten up. As finally a light appeared out of nowhere, a green light appeared as Naruto's body started to float, while in the Hokage mansion people only saw a green light for a mere moment and it simply vanished. As people arrived at the scene to see what actually happened, but they found nothing. As Hiruzen was a bit disturbed by this, but he had other things to deal with. After all, Council is once again doing something without his knowledge, so he had to deal with them, wondering about his Naruto-kun as well, but keeping that back of his mind. So after all, he does have two Chunins taking care of Naruto from the far away, right? Those Chunins which always lead the mob actually. As Naruto was once again vanished, and now let us go to the point of view of a single person. Blood rate normal, heartbeat normal. Regeneration process, it's pretty interesting. Just the one I always wanted, huh? It is going to be pretty interesting as much. Just wait. As after saying that, the person simply walked away, while on the other hand Naruto was sleeping as he grumbled a little. As he finally opened his eyes to see, as expecting, half expecting, the hospital room once again. But this time, he was pretty surprised to see a strange room, as these were mechanical things all around and things like that. As he was wondering where he actually is, as he opened his eyes to look around, as he was tied down to the bed and all, as he was pretty confused, as he said, "Hey, where am I?" As he lighted to scream, as a voice speak up, "So young one, you have finally waken up, huh? Pretty interesting. Your regeneration power, I was looking for you for millenniums now." As Naruto was looking around, "Who's talking to me?" As the person said, "Look down." As Naruto looked down to see a small creature which has two green eyes and pretty small even for Naruto's small body. As Naruto let out a scream, as almost scared by this small creature, as the creature simply, you can say, covered his ears. "Hey, shut it already, little brat." As Naruto looked towards him, "What? Where am I?" As the creature smiled, "Well, young one, you can call me Merlin, and I'm a Galvin." As Naruto was still pretty confused, as the Galvin simply smiled and then simply jumped out of the bed as he pressed a button, and then the bed simply transformed into a small chair as Naruto was sitting on it. As Naruto was still pretty confused and surprised, a bit scared as well, as he said, "Where am I? And where is Gigi?" As the Galvin smiled, "Don't worry, little kid, you're in safe hands, and I'm not going to hurt you." As Naruto looked towards the small creature, a bit hesitant, but simply nodded, and then he pressed once again another button, and a small cube appeared beneath the Galvin fate as it started to float within the air. As he said, "Well, young one, I was looking after you for a pretty long time, and trust me, you have intrigued me pretty well." As Naruto was looking towards him, what are you talking about? And where am I?" As you can say, the Galvin only laughed and said, "Well, allow me to explain from the very beginning. You may call me an alien." As Naruto's eyes widened, he heard about some mangas and some stories about things like that, but those were just fanfics and things like that. As he said, "Alien? Which means from the space, right?" And the Galvin simply laughed it out. Pretty gullible creature you are. Though, I'm pretty sure that your creature does have more intelligence than this. It seems that you are not well developed, but it does not matter. Allow me to explain it further. I come from a race known as the Galvins, most intelligent race from all the universe. As they're pretty, you can say, awesome if you ask me about it. As so, I'm going to explain it from the beginning. I come from the planet named Galvin, and I am one of the scientists. In my time, one of the, you can say, most intelligent of Galvin was able to create a machine named by the Omnitrix. That machine has the power as well as the DNA of all the aliens in the universe. Well, most of the aliens, you can talk about it, as they have different abilities, various, but they are pretty interesting if you ask me. And Naruto was still pretty confused. Whoa, so what this machine actually do? As Galvin laughed, "Well, this machine allows a person to transform into any alien and have all the abilities of that alien." As Naruto's eyes widened, this was really interesting now. Even though many people call him a fool and all, but still, after learning that how he has to become a strong shinobi, he was trying to read as much books as possible, though not that much, but still, it does increase his intelligence a little bit. So he said, "Whoa, so what happened?" As he said, "Well, he was my fiance." As he looked down, well, in its time, he started to get obsessed with the, you can say, many developments he actually made, as well as many products. First, he made a sword which almost had the power to destroy many races, which I was up against, but still his passion. And after that, he made the Omnitrix. Well, I can say that Omnitrix was the safest thing he ever made. Well, it does not matter. Well, the moment, the reason I am here is you, little kid." As not to look towards him, "Me? What are you talking about?" As I said, as the Galvin laughed, "Well, Asma did make the Omnitrix, but there is one flaw. As the Omnitrix is just a product, but I want to make quite a different thing. It is going to be a being which himself possesses the DNAs of all the aliens and all the powers without even activating the Omnitrix or transforming into the thing itself. You can have all the powers of all the aliens in the universe." As Naruto's eyes widened and said, "Whoa, so what does these aliens do, huh?" As the Galvin laughed, "Well, it varies. Many has the control over lightning. Many can do with the eyes and speed, strength, and all those aspects. You can have it all in your body. As Naruto raised an eyebrow at this, as he said, and why are you telling me this all, huh? As Naruto is right now at the age of 7. As Galvin said, well, it's pretty simple. Many of the, you can say, experiments will not last on any other alien race, even on other humans. It is only you who can actually survive this. As Naruto raised an eyebrow at that, and why me, huh? As the Galvin said, well, there are two reasons for that. First of all, I was looking at this planet for a long time and trying to figure out who is worthy enough, and trust me, people here are backstabbers. They will stab you before even taking care of you. And these are the kind of people live in this planet, and I was about to leave this planet to search for some other alien races if they are willing to take part in my experiment. But trust me, this place is pretty different. Well, until I found you. I saw you at the age of 4 when you were getting beaten up by the hands of people, and then I started to do research on you. And then I found out the reason why these people actually hate you. At this, Naruto's eyes widened, as it was the question which was always in his mind, wanted to get the answer of this question for a really long time. As he looked towards the Galvin, what? You know the reason why they hate me? As the Galvin nodded, well, young one, apparently there is a large fox living in your belly. As Naruto was a bit confused at the moment, as he said, large fox with the 9 tails. Apparently, this fox attacked the village some years ago, and the leader sealed it away inside of you. As Naruto's eyes widened, 9-tailed fox, he heard about things, as many people often call him a demon, and sometimes he hears about something 9-tailed fox. But he never paid it any mind. He knew about the attack. After all, he lived in a village. As his eyes widened, now this all makes sense. Everything makes sense. As tears started to come to his eyes, but as he wanted to say something, but words were not coming to his mouth. As the Galvin realized that Kid was about to go on a trauma, as then Galvin looked towards him as he said, well, on contrary, it is no different than the Omnitrix. As Naruto looked towards him, what? What are you talking about? As this caught him off guard as he said, well, it's pretty simple. The fox is living inside of you, inside of the Omnitrix. As fox could also be referred as an alien being. After all, from where I come from, he's an alien to me. And truly, he is a just, you can say, living mass of chakra, nothing more than that. A small demon if you can call him that, but not that much. And trust me, if he has consciousness, then you can befriend him in the near future if you want to. As Naruto's eyes widened, as at the moment things were getting hectic and he does not even know how to react to this thing. Then Galvin speak up, and the second reason is that thanks to the fox, you have the regeneration ability that far exceeds any human that lives in your planet, and you can survive the experiment. And when you can get strong enough, and trust me, I have done research on the fox itself, and truthfully, it is you people who forced him to attack in the first place. He was a living being, and then your first Hokage enslave him as well as other 9 Bijus so that he can get this power. At this, Naruto's eyes widened. It's like, first Hokage? As the being started to explain the history of the Bijus as well as the first Hokage who captured all of them. And truthfully, I honestly believe that it was the first Hokage who was the littler fool, as even in this series. As if he did not capture all the Bijus and distributed them, then things would have been a lot easier actually for the people, and as well as they would not have been that power hungry after getting a lot of casualties after all. But that is beside the point, as the Galvin started to explain all the history of the Elemental Nation as well as the Bijus and how they are not actually that bad of a creature, and it is only because they are enslaved, and that is the only reason they are hating the people like that. While inside of the cage, Kurama, eyes wide, and he was listening to all of this conversation. He was pretty surprised when Naruto started to lift it up from the ground and apparently vanish into the mid-air. As then Kurama was listening to all of this, and he was pretty intrigued, wanted to know about these aliens and all. As then the Galvin said, so Naruto, are you ready to take part in my experiments? If you want to, I can leave you back at the home, and you will forget everything and will continue your life as it is. As Naruto looked down for a moment, and then all of this information he was digesting is, first of all, he had the 9-tailed fox inside of him. The reason he was hated by the village First, he tried to put the blame on the fox, but then after hearing that even the fox is a living being, and how it was the first Hokage who enslaved the fox and sealed it into people so that they can get power, as not to clench his face. And now the hatred lies to the first Hokage, and then after that to the fourth. But then he simply dismissed it. After all, it was for, you can say, to protect the village. After all, he does love the village as well. But still, he simply put that all of these things behind of his head. If the fox is inside of him, then the fox is going to give him answers, and that are pretty soon. As he looked towards the Galvin, pretty determination in his eyes, as I said, well, I'm ready for this experiment. If I get the power of the aliens, will I be able to get strong? As the Galvin smiled, well, trust me, you will be one of the strongest living beings in the creation. As Naruto only smiled at that. Determination came to his eyes. Now he will prove to everyone how Naruto's Uzumaki is no fool, not a weakling. He is going to become Hokage and prove everyone wrong, and then he will release all the Bijus. After all, they are the living beings, and no one has the right to enslave any living being. While inside of Naruto, Kurama eyes widened at that. He heard, you can say, felt everything. Hatred, lies towards him, then first Hokage, then even towards the fourth Hokage for a small moment. But then all the talks that Naruto was listening to, as Kurama unknowingly had a smile on his face, but simply he put that behind his, you can say, head, not wanting to believe any human once again and get fooled by them. So he simply shook his head, but he knew that he has to do something for Naruto to survive this experiment. If no one can survive it, then definitely he has to help him. As then, Galvin said, well, Naruto-kun, so are you ready for this experiment? As Naruto nodded at that, as Galvin said, alright, let us begin this. You are already here, but take some rest. Now, let us have a time skip of a next day. As Naruto was sitting on a, you can say, a bed, and then he was tied down. As Naruto gulped, after, you can say, looking upward, there were several thousands or even more than pins simply coming towards him. As Naruto said, are you sure it is not going to hurt, Merlin? As Merlin only smiled, well, it's going to hurt a little bit, but don't worry, the pain will vanish, and don't worry, you will be unconscious for the most of the time. As Naruto gulped, after looking towards all the, you can say, pins, as he sighed and said, alright, let's begin this. Determination once again came to his eyes. After all, he has to become a Hokage, and he will release all the Bijus and give them their freedom. He has goals in his life. He will not let them suffer, just like he suffered. And he simply smiled, and then one pin finally hit him, and he got knocked out. And now, let us go. In the mid of the operation, Naruto eyes widened as pain was unbearable in his body, while inside of Kurama said shit. As he started to release his 9th chakra towards Naruto's body, started to heal him, as the injuries started to get even more destructive. But still, Kurama was able to, in the end of the day, Naruto was an Uzumaki, and he has the healing ability of his own clan. On top of it, having the 9 tails, he had more than enough healing ability to heal himself. And finally, he was okay, as the operation was done, as Merlin had a huge smile on her face, as he said, well, Naruto-kun, mind telling me how you actually feeling? As Naruto was grumbling a little, and then he finally opened his eyes, as his eyes changed for a moment from blue to green. But it reverted back as he said, damn it. As he had a small headache, as he said, alright, I'm feeling pretty good actually. As he looked towards his hand, he could feel things were different about his body and all. He was not physically changed, but he could feel the things that are right now inside of him. As he said, well, I'm feeling awesome. As Merlin smiled, well, right now you have the DNA of thousands of aliens that lies in the universe. Well, none of the aliens are like, you can say, godly power, but still, they are biological beings. For example, as there is forearms. As if I remember correctly, it was Ben Tennyson who gave these strange names. But let me tell you, forearms, accelerator, diamond head, and Webic, jet ray, and many other beings which have different abilities, but you have to master them in time. So I'm going to give you a small knowledge and all. I have already planted in your mind, and you will be able to get all the knowledge about all the specific DNAs of the aliens when the time is right. And don't worry, thanks to you can say having a bijou inside of you. Right now you have a mindscape and you can access it, and in that you can train all you want. So you will be able to master all these aliens. Let's see, at the age of if you use your mindscape and dilute the time a little, as you started to calculate, at the age of 16, I think that should be more than enough for you to master all of your aliens and all. Yeah, that should be okay. But right now, you have the DNA of at least 10 aliens implanted in your mind thanks to my technology. You should be able to access their power. So, Naruto-kun, are you ready for the training a little? So, after that, you have to return back to your village. I do not want you to get a missing name. As Naruto only laughed it out, I'm not even a ninja, so why would they put me in the book, bingo book? But again, they would not want it to lose their weapon. As Naruto even surprises himself as he said, What? What? Why did he say that? As Galvin laughed and said, Well, first DNA I put in your body was the DNA of the Galvins. And we may not have all those abilities of flying and fighting fire or those type of things, but our brain is something no one can actually challenge. And you have a lot of intelligence right now. It will unleash with time. But right now, you are one of the intelligent beings living, or rather, is going to live in that planet of yours. As not to smile at that, I always lag on that, to be honest. By looking back at my time, I was a total goof. As he laughed it out, as Galvin laughed, well, Naruto-kun, you may take some rest. As Naruto only nodded, just wait. What? I'm going to show you the strongest shinobi to ever walk on this planet. As he gritted his teeth, and now I'm going to save all those people who are suffering because of people who wanted to gain power, as I will show them power. As his eyes once again changed to a green for a moment. While inside of Naruto, Kurama was wondering if this kid is really serious about freeing the bijus who are enslaved or trying to help them, as he simply shook his head. No, but he is pretty interesting about this alien stuff and all. After all, he could also be considered an alien in terms of other aliens. So he simply shook his head. Alright. It seemed that this imprisonment is not going to be as boring as I previously thought, as Kurama smirked on that. Now, let us have a time skip as Naruto was finally back in his village. As he started to walk in the village, noticing that some of the people were pretty surprised to see him. As Naruto figured out that it must be that they thought that he was dead and all. As he simply walked back to his apartment, not surprised at all as his apartment was broken. And once again, things were broken inside of it, as Naruto sighed at that, as he said, I wonder if there was an alien who could have managed that. As then suddenly an image appeared in Naruto's mind, and Naruto pointed a hand towards the area of his room. As Naruto started to move his hand, and then all the things started to float within the air and started to tie together, and all the broken things were once again fixed. As Naruto's eyes widened, telekinesis, pretty interesting. It seems that I can even force things to bend at my will. Pretty interesting. As he looked towards his hand, as he said, As he simply walked inside of the room and simply shut it. And now, let us have a timescape. Finally, Hiruzen was looking towards Naruto with a smile. Well, Naruto-kun, I have pointed you in the academy. It is going to be your first day. So, are you ready to become a strong shinobi? As Naruto only smiled at his grandfather figure, as he said, Well, Gigi, don't worry. I'm going to become one of the strongest shinobi to ever walk on this planet, and I'm going to save some people as well, some beings as well. As Hiruzen raised an eyebrow on that, but did not question Naruto's beliefs. As he said, well, Naruto-kun, you have to be careful in the academy. You have to learn everything that they teaches you in the academy, and then you can become a strong shinobi in time. As Naruto only nodded at that, giving his grandfather a hug. Even though Naruto's intelligence has decreased, he is still a kid, and he does have emotions. It is not like all of his emotions are like emo or something like that. As Naruto finally arrived in the academy and things started to play out pretty simple, I just wanted to skip it, and now let's go to main fun part. As Iruka smiled at his students as he said, well, it is going to be the final part of the day. This is going to be Uzumaki Naruto versus Uchiha Sasuke. As Sasuke arrived with a smug look on his face, ready to beat this loser to the ground, ready to prove that he is an Uchiha elite and there's no one above him in the academy. As he smirked at Naruto, ready to lose, loser. As all the girls were screaming, Sasuke-kun, Sasuke-kun, and those type of things. Well, it is always fun to call Sasuke, Sasuke-kun. And that, well, as Naruto simply looked towards him, calculating eyes and all, which surprised his Iruka a little. He heard about Naruto's reputation and even saw him pulling out pranks and all those type of things when he was a kid. And years ago, it simply vanished. It seemed that Naruto was training somehow, as he heard some rumors here and there that demon is trying to get his power back, but he simply shrugged it off. After all, after his talk with Lord Hokage, he has finally realized that Naruto is no demon and all, and this time even a lot quicker actually. As Naruto simply looked towards Sasuke. Quite a fool. As Sasuke looked towards Naruto, what did you say to me? As Naruto said, nothing more. Just bring it on, Uchiha. I don't have all day. As Naruto yawned on the face of Sasuke as a tick mark appeared on Sasuke's face. Why, you loser? I'm an Uchiha elite. How dare you to look at me like that? I'm going to show you who is a loser here. As we rush towards Naruto, as Ruka sighed, as ready to see how this battle actually goes. Sakura said, yes, Sasuke-kun, beat that baka to the ground, as Ino and Sakura were screaming on top of their lungs, while Hinata was doing her usual Naruto-kun, as actually, as Sasuke rushed towards Naruto, as Naruto simply sidestepped Sasuke, as Sasuke moved around, ready to kick Naruto, but Naruto simply ducked under the cake, as he started to evade all the attacks of Sasuke, as Naruto raised her eyebrow. After his operation and all, he was even physically stronger, even without activating any of their alien powers. He was still more than strong enough to handle Sasuke, as both of them engaged in a taijutsu battle. As Sasuke was pretty surprised, he thought that loser was nothing, but he was keeping up with him and Uchiha elite. As anger started to fill the eyes of Sasuke, how dare the dope try to stand up against him? He's going to show the loser that he's nothing special. He, Sasuke Uchiha, is an Uchiha elite. As he rushed towards Naruto once again, but Naruto started to dodge all of his attacks. As Ruka was pretty surprised, as Naruto was simply dancing around the area like it is not even a thing. As Sasuke gritted his teeth as he made some hand sign fast stall, great fireball jutsu, as he released a gigantic fireball towards Naruto. As Iruka was about to stop the barrier, but then Naruto, you can say, mind flash into Kurama stone, as Naruto pointed a hand towards Sasuke's fireball. Well, if you guys don't know about the Kurama stone, he's a creature made up of crystals and he has the power to deflect and absorb all the attacks. As Naruto pointed a hand towards fireball, as he simply disappeared in front of everyone's eyes, as Sasuke's eyes widened, and next thing they saw was a double of the size of fireball rushing towards Sasuke. As Iruka's eyes widened, he do not know what actually happened, but he has to stop this as he moved with incredible speed. But before he could even get to the area, Sasuke tried to dodge, but his leg got scratched thanks to the gigantic fireball that was rushing towards him, as Sasuke let out a scream of pain outside of the ring. As Iruka arrived at Sasuke, Sasuke, are you alright? As Sasuke was screaming, as Iruka said, alright, the match is over, winner, Uzumaki Naruto, as he grabbed Sasuke, as he sent him away to the hospital, as everyone, there was a silence in the room, no one knew what to say at the moment. As then, a scream could be heard, Naruto Baka, how dare you to hurt my Sasuke-kun, as she rushed, as it was none other than a pink-haired girl, as which was running towards Naruto, ready to punch him, but Naruto said, no thanks, as he simply dodged the attack and simply kicked her so hard as she was slammed into the wall, as Naruto simply started to walk away, as Shikamaru was looking towards Naruto, pretty calculating eyes, and he said, troublesome, as after saying that he went back, and now let us go to Iruka POV, as he was pretty surprised. He has never heard of any technique which can absorb other technique and reflect it like that. As he said, it seems that I have to tell Lord Hokage, as he appeared in the room. As Hiruzen looked towards Iruka, Iruka, so how can I help you today? As Iruka said, well Lord Hokage, it is something about my new student, Uzumaki Naruto. As third Hokage raised an eyebrow, as he said, really now? So tell me, what happened, As Iruka said, well, it was the day we were doing sparring matches, and then Naruto was paired up against Sasuke Uchiha, as Hiruzen knew that Sasuke came from an Uchiha clan, and his brother Itachi is a prodigy among prodigies, so it is only bound that Sasuke is going to be strong, as Hiruzen said. So, did Sasuke hurt Naruto, As Iruka simply shook his head, not actually Lord Hokage. Naruto was simply playing with Sasuke, and in the end of the match, When Sasuke used a fireball towards Naruto, he absorbed the fireball. As Hiruzen raised her eyebrow, absorbed the fireball. What are you talking about, Iruka? As Iruka started to explain, the fireball simply vanished after touching his hand, and then a small glow could be felt not around Naruto's body, and then, from the other hand, Naruto released the fireball double of the size of Sasuke's fireball. As it almost crashed Sasuke's leg, and he has admitted Sasuke in the hospital. As Hiruzen is warden, he has never heard about any technique. After all, he is the professor and he knows about all the techniques in Konoha, and he has never ever heard about such a Kekigenkai, as that could be the only explanation if Naruto has some type of Kekigenkai or something like that. As he looked towards Iruka, don't tell this information to anyone, and send Uzumaki Naruto here. As Iruka nodded as he went off. As Iruka nodded and went off, as Hiruzen sighed, wondering how much trouble Naruto is actually going to give him. That kid is going to be his downfall. As he chuckled a little, and after some time, Naruto appeared. As Hiruzen looked towards Naruto as he sealed the room, as he said, well, Naruto-kun, so I heard about your win today. So, would you like to explain what actually happened? As Naruto looked towards Hiruzen with the blank, you can say, blinking his eyes twice. As Hiruzen was a bit confused, as Naruto said, what are you talking about, Gigi? As Hiruzen looked towards Naruto, trying to figure out if this kid was actually lying to him, but found no deception, as he said, well, according to Iruka, when you touch the fireball, you absorb it and then you released it. So, can you tell me, how did you actually do that? As Naruto simply shrugs, well, I do not know. I just felt like it, and when I put my hand at that position, it simply vanished, and then I felt that something was trying to release from my body, and then I pointed my hand towards Sasuke, and the same fireball appeared. I do not even know how that even happened. Well, Naruto has the intelligence that of a Galvin, so he knew that even the third Hokage would be intrigued, and in the future he could have a bit of trouble. Though he can label it as the Kikigenkai, but still, he has to be careful because the village will try to do something against him, and it will be hard. So he simply shook his head as he said, so is that some amazing jutsu I have, Gigi? As Hiruzen sighed and said, well, Naruto, you should not tell anyone about it, and try not to use that ability again. We have to figure out if it is a new Kekigenkai or something like that. As he thought it in his mind, he has to keep this information away from the council, and that. So he will try to cover the tracks from here on. Hopefully, even if the academy children were to say things about it, they are just mere children and they will not know anything. And same could be said for Sasuke. He will be jealous too much to tell anyone about his defeat and all. He has seen Uchiha Sasuke and he knows about his arrogance and all. So that is going to be a good point. As I said, well, Naruto, you have to train in your ability, and then we can find out about it even more. So right now you may leave. As Naruto simply nodded as he went off, as Hiruzen started to think if it is a new Kekigenkai or something like that. Well guys, here I will love this part. Hope you guys enjoy it, and for the next part you guys can give me some ideas, it would be great. So hopefully you guys enjoy it and I will be able to complete the series in due time. So yeah guys, without any further ado, and yeah guys, if you guys are new to this channel or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It will really help me a lot. And yeah guys, please subscribe. For the next part, like goal is going to be 200 likes and 180 comments. Do that and I shall upload the next part as quick as possible. So yeah guys, peace.